संकीर्तन यज्ञ की यशोदा दामोदर जी की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय गौर प्रेमानंद। I hope the neighbors are all right. Condominiums, that's the problem, right, Prabhu?
It's soundproof.
Oh, it's soundproof.
Windows are closed, nothing goes on.
Okay, very nice.
I don't know about the door. Mataji can tell when you are coming in, you are able to hear it. Dedicated.
Okay. So we should get louder? Okay, so Hare Krishna.
No, stomping on the floor.
Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, thank you. So Hare Krishna again. What we'll do now is we will discuss the pastime of Lord Damodar and also allude a little to why we celebrate festivals such as Diwali. In our culture, you will find, if you look at the Vedic calendar, almost every other day is actually a festival. But we only take heed specifically to major festivals like Diwali, like Ganesh Chaturthi, all the Janmashtami is there. So we take heed to such festivals. Festivals in the Vedic calendar are not set for a ritualistic, sentimental or emotional need. These festivals are set up in a very scientific way to actually tell us what is the focal point in our lives. How many of us was working on Diwali day? No one, right? How many of you, bro, you were working? Okay. How many of you were spending time with family? Right? Yes. So on festival days, in our culture at least, we are forced to focus on what is truly important to us. That is what a festival is all about. Because if the festival is not there, then we are running after something that we don't know what we are running after. Every day we are running after something. But these festivals give us an avenue to focus on what is truly important in our lives. We have forgotten it, but these festivals, through all those apparent rituals, creates a focal point on what we should be doing more on a daily basis. But at least on that day, it gives you an avenue to focus on that. So this is a very important point. And this is where festivals such as Damodar Leela, festivals such as the arrival of Ram from Lanka into Ayodhya again after vanquishing Ravan. These are some of the very few reasons why we actually celebrate Diwali. So this Damodar Leela actually took place 5,000 years ago in the house of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata on the day of Diwali. And Krishna book of Bhagavatam writes that on the day of Diwali, what was happening in the house of Nanda Maharaj is what happens in all our houses. When I was young, I remember that my mother would always be up first, and I would still be sleeping, and I would hear all the bells ringing, the house being cleaned, many things happening outside, and then I would slowly walk out, right, like the VIP. So this exact thing actually happened in the house of Yashoda Mata. Yashoda Mata as the mother and actually the queen, right, in that area, right, she was in charge together with Nanda Maharaj on herding and managing the cows and all the cow herdmen. So she was a queen. But on the morning or in the morning of Diwali, what she was doing is that she was churning personally, right, Swayam. Personally, she was churning butter for Krishna. And Bhagavatam tells us that Mother Yashoda, being the queen, had many maidservants. But she always refused to use the maidservants whenever she wanted to serve Krishna. This is a very important point that Prabhupada tells us. Mother Yashoda was not attached to her designation as a queen. This is a point that we must note. Mother Yashoda was not attached to her designation as a queen. You know, when we were students, whatever our teachers, whatever our parents would tell us, we would do it. Even if they were to tell us to clean the house, even if there was a sewer running outside our house, we would do it. But fast forward 10, 15 years, we go to a good school, we get knowledge, we go to a good company, we get a good job, we get a very beautiful wife, right? Krishna willing. We get a very handsome, strong husband, where we get children, we get properties. Once we get all of this, if anyone were rich, but in the 10, 15, 20 years, we have become very attached to what you call the designations. The same humble, menial things that we would do many years ago, we would refuse to do it now. Because we are caught up with actually what we are not. We are caught up with this material illusion that we actually have become something. But in Mother Yashoda's home, that was not the case. No matter who she was, no matter what she was, Mother Yashoda always kept that portion of her heart to always serve Krishna no matter what. If we want to serve God, then we have to come in front of Him. We cannot be wearing any hats. We cannot be wearing any designations. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat bharatvena nirmalam. These designations, if we set it aside, then when Krishna sees us, then He accepts our service. So in this way, Mother Yashoda, setting aside all her designations as the queen of Vrindavan, was actually churning a very menial service, churning butter for Krishna. And at that point, Bhagavatam tells us that Mother Yashoda had a very good habit. No matter what she was doing, she would always chant the pastimes of Krishna. Doesn't matter whether she was sleeping, whether she was walking, whether she was herding the cows, cleaning the house, churning butter for Krishna, she always used to chant the glories of Krishna. And at this point in time, up till this point, I think Krishna had already killed Shakatasura, Trinavrita, Putana. So all these pastimes had already happened. So what she did was, she gathered all these pastimes and she wrote it down as poetry. Very nice. She wrote it down as poetry and she always used to chant this poem so that she can be absorbed intensely in remembering Krishna, even though she was externally involved in something else. See, she was multitasking for the right reasons. Very wonderful. But you may ask why she must set this poem, why song? Because even in our own, I think the children can relate to it. We can relate to it. Remember Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Baba Black Sheep, songs that so randomly did not make any sense, but we were still forced to sing it. Why did we sing those songs? So that we can increase our vocabulary, we can increase our grammar through the medium of music. When you have music, even verses if you want to learn, it is best you chant it in a meter. You keep chanting it, it will stick to your head. So, Mother Yashoda was very innovative in the way she wanted to remember Krishna. So every morning, every day, she would churn butter and she would chant Krishna's names without fail. And Prabhupada tells us there is another point to this. These vibrations that Mother Yashoda was emitting was very, very important. And this is what is lacking in the world at the present moment. In the present moment, you will find that we want to clean everything in this world. We want to clean our homes, there are injustices happening, there's prejudice, there's war. So we want to clean everything that we can see. We can see the war, we want to clean it. We see this home, we can see it, it is gross, we want to clean it. But in Vedic science, it is mentioned that what we can see is lesser than what we cannot. Everything that you see around here, this cement, this home is very beautiful. But essentially, it is made up of the 5 elements. Air, water, ether, fire. All these 5 elements, permutating it is how these homes, how everything is made up of. But there is also an element that we do not see. And actually that element is more predominant than any element that you can see. And that is the element of ether. Ether you cannot see. But this entire space is more than this concrete. You all agree to that. And this space is packed with ether. And this ether is a real element. Not Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam is giving us. Science textbook has given us. This ether is a factual element. And the only other component that can either clean it or dirty it is actually sound. Because sound is more subtle than ether. So when you imbue this ether with sound, if at home we are screaming and shouting, the home may look very clean, but the ether is getting dirty. In this carpet, Prabhu and Mataji have cleaned their house so nicely. Right? Whenever I come here, the house is always clean. And that's why when you come in, your mind is very peaceful. Just imagine you came in and Prabhu Mataji just came out, everything is all over the place. Right? You would say that, okay, I'll stay maybe for 15 minutes. Your mind will start getting agitated. But sometimes, even when the house is clean, we actually get agitated. Why? Because the ether is left unclean. The words that we emit is forgotten by our minds and our body. But the ether never forgets the vibration. So we may scold someone, we may talk down someone, we may criticize someone, we may gossip, we may forget it. But the ether has a memory of its own. And it remembers that vibration. And the more we emit these negative vibrations wherever we go, we will always be caught in some form of negativity. 15, 20 years ago, if you were to go to the CBD area, Asia Square area, Shenton Way area, there would be the office, and you would see some cafes and restaurants. Fast forward 15, 20 years, you now see pubs, bars, liquor shops, and I see some of my colleagues, they will crowd around these areas after work. And when I ask them, why is it that you go there every day? Don't you have a home? Right? Cheekily I ask them. And they say that you don't know. Actually, when I go home, I feel more stress. That is why this kind of shops, cafes, they are actually flourishing. Because we are feeling very hurt within our own comfort zones. Why? Because this ether is so much polluted. Mother Yashoda never allowed that to happen in her home. And what was her innovation? Chanting Krishna's names. This is why all our temples, our churches, our mosques, everyone is only singing and chanting the names of God. If you think they are sentimental and emotional, I leave it to your imagination. This ether is real. This vibration is very, very real. So Mother Yashoda would actually imbue and induce the entire home with the pastimes and vibrations of Krishna. And what happened? As she was chanting the names of Krishna, Krishna heard her chanting the names. And like what we all said, right? We wake up in the morning, scratch our eyes, and slowly come out. Krishna did the same thing. This is the real value of chanting. What I mentioned before is a byproduct of chanting. Your ether gets clean, you become more peaceful, right? People in your home become a little bit more happy. That is a byproduct. But the real effect of chanting, that when Mother Yashoda chanted, Krishna appeared right in her eyes. You may think that he was sleeping in the room, obviously. He heard some sound, but no. Krishna has the right not to appear in front of anyone. He chooses the right. So it was actually the fortune of Mother Yashoda that Krishna chose to appear before her that morning. So the more we chant, it is actually guaranteed that God will appear in our houses and in our hearts. Why? Because the entire space has now become very peaceful. God usually appears where there is some peace and some happiness. It's very important. So Krishna came out and he saw Mother Yashoda very busy churning the butter using a rod and a pot. And the moment he saw her, he started to feel hungry. And he went straight to her and he grabbed the rod. He grabbed the rod and Mother Yashoda understood, yes, now my son is hungry and now I must take him and I must feed him. So she took Krishna, she put him on the lap and she told Krishna, wait 5 minutes. She took out a phone, she went to Facebook and she started to make some posts, right? Went to Twitter and then she said, okay, now I'm ready for you. Correct? No? You didn't read that part? No. When the child came, Mother Yashoda was completely attentive to Krishna. You see, Damodar Leela is a Leela, but it is very much on the ground and very practical. Before social media, before technology had advanced so much, when someone came in front of us, we always had time for them. Why? Whether we love them or not, we are not distracted by anything else. But now, it is so difficult for us to even look someone in the eye while we are eating dinner. You go to any restaurant now, usually we will eat, we will talk to someone. But now you will see a very bright light shining on everyone's faces. You go on the trains, you can actually count the number of people who are on their phones, number of people who are doing nothing, number of people reading the book. Now it's almost become zilch. Everyone is caught up with their phones. This actually reduces our sense of awareness. When Krishna came, Mother Yashoda, even without Krishna saying, Mother Yashoda could detect that Krishna was hungry. You know, in our homes, many people have different emotions. They are going through something that they may not speak out. So many things are happening in our children's schools. So many things are happening in our spouses, organizations, company. They don't come back, they don't have the energy to tell everything to us. And if we are distracted with so many other things, we can never ever serve their needs. Forget about the temple. Just look at our own homes. This sense of awareness of people's feelings, what people are thinking, it's very subtle. But Kali Yuga is forcing us to become more gross. We are always stuck and distracted with something we cannot detect. That is why the business of psychologists, psychiatrists, These businesses are all flourishing. Why? Because there's no one at home who will actually talk to them. There's no one at home who can detect their problems. It is not that psychologists and psychiatrists are redundant. They are important people, they are needed for society. But half the battle of anxiety, loneliness, and depression can actually be won if one is actually attentive and one is aware of his surroundings. And this is exactly what Mother Yashoda was. Because from morning, she was completely absorbed in Krishna. Completely attentive. No distractions, even though she was multitasking. In one word, in Sanskrit, this is called yoga. Yoga for us means 30 minutes, do some asanas, do some chanting. For Mother Yashoda, her life was actually yoga. All our yogic practices must translate to our life and our transactions with others. So that way, she took Krishna upon her lap very attentively and she looked at his face. Bhagavatam says that Prabhupada translates, she didn't look, she was observing Krishna's face. Looking means you're just looking what is there. Observing means you are very attentive. And because of that, the love in her heart started to overflow. Sneha Snutam. So when the Sneha was there, the Snutam started to overflow. This mothers would understand. When her love was overflowing, her body started to overflow with the production of milk. Excessively the milk was flowing out of her body because of her love for Krishna. And Krishna took advantage of his mother's love and the milk that was flowing out of her body, and he was completely satisfied. You see, just remember this one picture. Mother Yashoda being attentive, she's loving Krishna, Krishna is reciprocating her love, he becomes satisfied, she becomes satisfied. No money spent, nothing spent, no great endeavor, but attention, respect, and love. These three components was always there in their relationship. So as she was doing that, so Krishna was very happy, and she was also very happy. But suddenly, Mother Yashoda heard that there was some milk in the kitchen that was boiling over. So all these lovey-dovey things that I just mentioned, we're all thinking, yes, it's a very nice scene. But Mother Yashoda broke that entire scene. What did she do? Mother's natural reaction, right? Anything happens in the kitchen, that is the first priority. So she took Krishna, she left him on the floor, and she started to run towards the kitchen. Krishna was completely confused. He was thinking, what's happening? I thought, she was loving me, I was loving her, I was getting milk, but now I'm just tossed on the floor. So just imagine, Krishna is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was actually left on the floor by his mother. If now I were to tell Mataji and Prabhu that please take the deity and just put it on the floor, they would say that I think we invited the wrong person to speak. Right? He's a crazy man. How can we do that? It's a great offense. How can you put God on the floor? But Mother Yashoda went to the kitchen to subside the milk that was boiling over. Who was the milk for?
Krishna.
It was for Krishna. That is the game changer. In Mother Yashoda's house, nothing was outside of Krishna's interest. Everything done in Mother Yashoda's house, whether it was packing the kids for school, whether it was taking care of the household work, whether Nanda Maharaj was going to the office, everything was done centered around Krishna. In their home, sometimes you go to homes, they will have a quotation, and then the parents will tell the children, look at this quotation before you go to school, and we feel very happy about it. So every family wants to have a goal. And Mother Yashoda's house, the goal was bhakti, devotion for Krishna. Everything else was sub-goal. Many times we make our sub-goals as the ultimate goal. We want to work, that becomes our main goal. We want to get married, that becomes our main goal. We want to get a promotion, that becomes the main goal. But all these goals, in your own experience you would have found, they are all perishable. they all die down. The moment you get the promotion and the increment, you're already asking your boss, what should I do to step to the next level? The moment you get your iPhone 15, you're already thinking about how I should get, what are the features that will come out in iPhone 16? The moment you move from maybe a Toyota to a BM, you're already thinking, what should be, what is my next installment for my next car? What can I afford? We're always thinking, why? Because all our goals are perishable. We prove it to ourselves that our goals, they do not stay. They keep moving. But if you set your goal as Krishna, then that becomes the pivot. Why? Because Krishna has no end. You can always keep setting something against him. And that is how devotees actually live their lives. And Mother Yashoda's goal in her life was actually bhakti for Krishna. Everything else was subservient to that. So she subsided the milk and she was walking out. And as she walked out, she saw a very, for a lack of a better word, a very ghastly scene. Right? For mothers, it's a very ghastly scene. Right? Diwali means spring cleaning. Everything is very clean. But when she came out, she saw that all the butter that she had churned was actually overflowing on the floor. So what had happened? Krishna decided to teach Mother Yashoda a lesson. You left me on the floor, now I'll tell you who I am. So he took a stone that he could find nearby and he tossed it right at the pot. The pot broke and the butter was flowing out. Okay, just keep this in mind. It's butter that is flowing out. Is it easy or difficult to clean butter? Everyone is smiling. It is very, very difficult. And it happened on Diwali morning. So you can imagine how Mother Yashoda was actually feeling. So she was completely angry. But Krishna book tells us that at the sight, she was also smiling. She thought, how smart this boy is. He's so young, right? He did this and he immediately fled the crime scene. But in this pastime, fortunately, unfortunately, Krishna was less intelligent than Mother Yashoda. Because when he ran, what did he do? Footprints of the butter, right? He had stepped on the butter, right? Knowingly or unknowingly, and he had run off. So Mother Yashoda said, yes, now I know where he has gone. I know the trail of footprints and I'm going to follow him. So she was rushing towards following the trail of footprints, and she also picked up her best friend. A mother's best friend with the child is Rot, the cane. So she took the cane and she was rushing towards the place where Krishna was. And then she saw Krishna. She followed the trail. She saw Krishna, very peculiar scene. He had overturned, flipped a wooden grinding mortar. I have never seen a wooden grinding mortar, so I cannot describe it to you. So it's a wooden grinding mortar, but I understand that the base was on top. Right? The hollow part was at the bottom, and Krishna was standing on top of the wooden grinding mortar, and guess what he was doing? He was, what is the word? Stealing butter. Why would someone steal in his own house? You get the point. He was stealing in his own home. Why? Because Mother Yashoda knew who Krishna was. And she had to hide the butter from Krishna, which was made for Krishna. If you think I'm going to say something philosophical here, no. The only way I related to this, right, and I told some of the Prabhus, when I was young, my mother used to make many pastries for Diwali. I think you all would have had the experience. And after she made everything, when I went into the kitchen, there would be nothing there. It would all be hidden in some cupboard, one here, one there. And I used to ask her, why are you hiding? She said, if you see it, before the guests arrive, it will be finished. So that is why I have to hide it from you. But disclaimer, after Diwali, the pastries will still be there. And then I have to go and finish it. So same case, Krishna also had that. Mother Yashoda had to ration. If I give it to him, he will either eat it or distribute it. And she was right. When she saw Krishna, he was stealing the butter, and was he eating it first? No. Yes. He was distributing it to the monkeys. Just imagine, Krishna's best friends in Vrindavan, right, were not CEOs, were not managers, right, were not leaders, were not presidents. They were actually monkeys. And do you know what a monkey is? A monkey, by definition, is not clean. Monkey, by definition, does not have a home. Monkey, by definition, is not eloquent. Doesn't have any designation. Right? Can be a bit intelligent, but has nothing. But Krishna made friends with the monkeys. This is God. If anything you were to remember from Damodar Leela, just remember this about Krishna. To Krishna, everyone is the same. It is only man who actually finds differentiation in people. This separatist mentality. You know, when we go to someone, we ask them, how are you? They will tell us, yes, I'm fine. What is the next question we ask them? What are you doing? And then we expect them to read out the entire biography. I'm working in this company, right? I came from this school, right? I'm living in this area in Singapore. So when they tell all of that, we will put a mental calculation in our mind. This company, this role, the salary must be like that, right? Now you have your Glassdoors, Indeed, whatever. You all know, right? Everything is there. So you paint a picture of the person, and then you start relating to the person. So we do not value a person for who they are. We value the person for what they are. If our boss tells us to do something, we have to get it done. If we want to be in the good books of someone, we get it done. But if someone else not so important comes to us, we don't do so much for them. But God is not like that. In fact, these monkeys were actually the monkeys in Ramayana. And at that point in time, when Lord Ram had vanquished Ravan, and these monkeys were still with Lord Ram actually asked them, you have done so much for me, over these few months, years, and I need to give you a boon. So please tell me, what would you like? So the first monkey went up to Lord Ram and said, my dear Lord Ram, I'm driving a Toyota, I need a BM. And the second monkey went up and said that I live in a HDB, now it's time to move to a condominium. Right? No? So the monkeys did not ask anything from Lord Ram. They said, my dear Lord, if there is something that you want to give us, please give us your service, life after life. And Lord Ram promised them that when I appear again on this earth, you will also appear with me. But this time, Krishna, as Lord Ram, was not being served by the monkeys. He was distributing, and he was serving the monkeys. This is the beauty of God. When we do something very small for Krishna, he will always remember it. And he's teaching us about this value of gratitude. When big people do great things for us, we are very grateful to them. But when people who are apparently small do something for us, we easily forget it. That is why it's always coming back to the point of how we see people. If people come with a strong baggage, we take all the value and we remember it. But when someone casually helps us without anything, we tend to forget them. But Krishna never does that. A help, a favor, a service is always a service, no matter who does it. And he was very happy to get to distribute this butter to them. So as he was distributing, the monkeys suddenly started to get agitated. Why? Because Mother Yashoda was approaching from the back. And the monkeys started to flee. And Krishna noted that if the monkeys are fleeing, some foreign object has entered, right, the domain. So he realized that the only foreign object in the house is my mother. Right? And she's coming after me. And Krishna started to run. And Bhagavatam tells us that Krishna was running, he was crying, and the mascara, in his eyes was actually smudging right across his face. He was perspiring and he was shaking with fear. Just imagine, God is actually feared by fear personified. But here, God is being feared, or God is fearing a simple cowherd lady. Why? Because Mother Yashoda had love in her heart. God decided that I can fear someone who has love in their heart. That's how fear works in the spiritual world. Every emotion in the spiritual world is centered out of love. Always. If there's no love, then there's nothing. It's also a great lesson for us. Anger is allowed. If anyone comes and tells you that after you enter spiritual life, you must forget about anger, that's actually fallacy. Every emotion can be accommodated as long as the center of it is love. Take the mother again for an example. If you tell the mother not to get angry with the child, you're being very idealistic. Right? Mother means must be firm with the child. But you will always find the mother will never envy the child and become angry. The mother's center of any emotion with her child, whether it's happiness, whether it's misery, whether it's anger, disappointment, it's all centered around love. So even in our homes, we can feel a multitude of emotions, provided it is centered out of love. If it is centered out of envy and resentment, that is what spiritual life or our Vedic texts tell us. Those emotions should be thrown out. The center cannot be anything else but love. So Krishna accepted this fear, right? And Mother Yashoda was chasing and she was perspiring. She was quite a heavy lady, not size 0. Not what you see in little Krishna. That is atrocity. Mother Yashoda looks like a 2000s model. It's not like that. Mother Yashoda was a very strong lady. So she was a bit heavy and she couldn't carry herself and she started to get tired. And Krishna then decided that mother's getting tired, I should now stop. And Mother Yashoda was able to catch Krishna. And the moment she caught Krishna, Krishna was still showing signs of fear. And Prabhupada tells us, Krishna was not faking the fear. He wasn't thinking that I'm God. I'll just fake it, this lady. I'll just show some tricks. No. He was really fearful of her. It's another very important point. If it were me, if I was Krishna, fortunately for you, I'm not. Right? If I was Krishna, I would have told Mother Yashoda, I'm God. Right? And you think you can overpower me? Her faith was that Krishna was the son. But Krishna became fearful to protect her faith. You see the point? It's a very subtle point. Mostly when people have faith, we try to break it. When someone in good faith comes to Krishna, we tell them that no, this should be done this way, that should be done this way, this is not proper. But Krishna does not want to break the faith of someone. Krishna flowed with Mother Yashoda because the center was love and he did not want to break someone's faith. 99% of our lives is actually based on faith. Everyone has faith in something. And that's why we are all living. That's why we are here. That's why we go to work. And we should never be an instrument to break the faith of someone. Good or bad. It is not in our prerogative to break someone else's faith. That is the greatest disservice that we can ever do to someone. And Krishna never wanted to do it. Even though he was God, he protected her faith. Yes, you believe that I am your son? I am your son. And he reciprocated her faith so perfectly. And she caught Krishna. And what did she want to do? We are speaking philosophy, but over there's no philosophy. Mother said that you broke the pot, right? You wanted to teach me a lesson. You stood on top of the wooden grinding mortar. Now I will tie you to the very wooden grinding mortar you used to cause all this mischief. So what did she do? She took some rope and she tied Krishna. Was she successful? Why? But why? Why wasn't it successful? 2 inches short, right? I think end of this month, if you're sleeping and I wake you up, if I ask you this question, you will tell me, 2 fingers short. We have heard it so many times. It was 2 fingers short. So then she decided to use logic and she took more rope, she joined it, she tied Krishna, 2 fingers short. And then all the gopis came and said that, don't worry, you're going to tie Krishna, we will help you. Because Krishna had stolen butter from everyone's house. So they were all waiting to tie Krishna. So they said that we'll give you the ropes, you join everything and you tie Krishna. And everyone was anticipatingly looking. And she tied Krishna, it was 2 fingers short. And what are these 2 fingers? Come on. Endeavor and mercy. Yes, right? Mercy we all understand. When we go to God, we seek His mercy. We know that whenever we go in front of someone superior, we need mercy from them. Because without them giving us mercy, we cannot attain what we desire. That is easily understood. The difficult part is the first inch. Second inch is the second finger is the mercy. First finger is endeavor. So, an example was given to me. Any local South Indians here? Born in Singapore? Okay, very good. Because I'm going to say something that is going to hurt their feelings. So I am a local South Indian, born, bred here. There is something that Singaporean, not North Indians, South Indians. Mataji, don't post it anywhere. So what we like to do is that when anyone were to ask us, right, why don't you go to the temple? Why don't you do some puja? What we'll do is we'll first put our hand out. We'll say, stop. We'll say that God is in my heart, right? I am in His heart. He knows me. I know Him, right? I don't have to do anything. This standard reply, and I was saying it for many years. And when I came in touch with devotees, when I saw my spiritual master, I actually put this question forward to him. Because it still sounded very logical to me. I said that He's in my heart, I'm in His heart. Same thing I repeated to him. He said, I'll give you an answer. But you will not be able to apply this in the next 10, 15 years. For you to apply this, you must first get married. So, I don't know whether he was blessing me that I should get married. Eventually I got married. So he said, when you get married, you need to do 2 things. One is do. Second thing is the do. The do part is every day you tell your wife that you love her. Every day. He said you cannot fail. Whether you want to add dear or darling is up to you. But you must tell her that I love you. Every day. You cannot fail. But then there's the don't part. Every day you tell her I love you. But when she cooks, you cannot wash the dishes. She must wash. On her birthday, you must go up to her and say, I love you. But you cannot buy her a gift. And on the morning of Diwali or any festival, right, you will tell her, I love you. But you cannot help her do anything in the house. And then he said, and after 2-3 years after that, you come back to me and tell me whether she's still with you. So of course I didn't do it. Because I got the flow of what he was saying. Right, I'm still happily married. But the point is, I got the flow that without endeavor, just keeping some emotion and feeling in the heart has no value. There's no value. We have to put, what do they say? The money where the mouth is. We have to do it. And with God, it is also similar. Everyone has their own capacity, but everyone has the capacity to endeavor. Some people may chant, some people may go to the temple, some people may cook, some people may hear, some people may read, but some endeavor every day must be done for our connection to Krishna to actually grow. And Mother Yashoda had both. She endeavored, she got Krishna's mercy, she bound him. And she left him there, right, in the backyard of her palace. But Krishna then countered. He said that first you taught me a lesson, then I taught you a lesson, now you have taught me a lesson, now finally I'll teach you a lesson. So what did he say? What did he do? He saw two very huge Yamala Arjuna trees in the backyard of his home. And he said that if I were to go in between these two trees, I am small, I'll get through it. But this wooden grinding mortar is so huge that it will actually get stuck. So it will get crushed and I'll be free. So what did he do? He started to crawl, went in between the two Yamala Arjuna trees, and his idea worked. He got through, the wooden grinding mortar got stuck. And the moment it got stuck, to his disappointment, it did not get crushed. Instead, the two Yamala Arjuna trees came crashing down. And from those two Yamala Arjuna trees, two blazing figures appeared. Who are they? Jai and Vijay. Right? Yes, so everyone is not sleeping. Very good. So it's Nalakuvara and Manigriva. So Nalakuvara and Manigriva, in modern context, if I were to say, they were spoiled sons of a very rich man. And who was their father? Kubera. So they were spoiled, father was rich, so they were technically brats. So they were actually coming out from the trees, and when Krishna saw them, he said something. He said, "Who are you? I don't know who you are." And when he said that, when we are rich, we are opulent, we have power, do you know why we want to keep that? So that people will know us. That's all we want. We want to be famous, popular, we want to be rich, so that someone will recognize us. If someone, let's say you are a celebrity, everyone knows you. Someone walks past and says that, "Who are you?" How will we feel? Our pride, the intoxication will completely get doused out. And that's what Krishna did. He said, "Who are you? I don't know you." So whatever pride that was left in Nalakuvara and Manigriva at that point completely got sapped out. And then they revealed to Krishna that 100 years ago, we actually met Narada Muni, your pure devotee. And as he was walking past a certain lake, we were actually bathing in a river with a few ladies. And we were nude. And we completely disrespected and insulted Narada Muni. And at that point in time, he cursed us very lovingly and said that since you are nude and you do not have basic culture and civility, I curse you to become trees. And that is why we have appeared as trees. And at that point Krishna said, "I have also come here. I don't know you, but I know Narada. And because of his love for me, I must keep his word. I must protect his word. And that is why I have come to save you." And the last lesson we learn from all this is, no matter how great materially or even spiritually we are, the respect that is due to our elders and our seniors ought to be given at all times. If there's one point we need to remember in Kartik, it is actually this point. If we don't, then just as what happened to Nalakuvara and Manigriva, all their opulence, all their pride, everything was sucked out of them for a very simple reason, that they did not have the basic etiquette to respect their elders. And Narada Muni was a great elder, and because of that they lost everything. And Krishna blessed them, and they went back to their abode. And all the denizens of Vrindavan came out, rushing out to see what had happened. And they all came towards Krishna. Nanda Maharaj came, and Mother Yashoda also came. And Nanda Maharaj could actually untie the knot that Mother Yashoda had actually placed, because his level of love was equal to Mother Yashoda. Actually, the Gopas came to untie Krishna. They could not. Only Nanda Maharaj could untie Krishna. And he jumped onto Nanda Maharaj. And Mother Yashoda was completely lost for words. "My son hates me." Right? After doing everything, she still expects the son to love her. Right? But when Krishna felt as Paramatma in the heart that my mother is disappointed, immediately he went to his mother. And he completely satisfied Mother Yashoda through this pastime. So just see, we just sat maybe for 30-35 minutes and we have discussed this Leela and we have just scratched the surface. This pastime appears in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 9th chapter. And if you all have time, it's online, you should read this whole pastime end to end with the translations, with the purport, and you get so much out of it. And we hear this pastime so that we can develop our love for Krishna, and this Kartik month should be the start of our intensification of growing our relationship with Krishna. Kartik should not be a one-off bonanza. That 1 month we do as many programs as we can, right? We hit the targets, we get as many new persons as we need, we come and we forget our devotional service. After that we are morose, no programs, nothing. Devotee means, even without anything going on, he should be satisfied with just sitting and being with Krishna. That is devotee. If we cannot be satisfied sitting with our chanting beads, Bhagavatam, with the deity singing in front of them, then everything else is only a reflection of our false ego. That is the most it gets to. So please remember this pastime very nicely. Thank you very much for very patiently hearing Hare Krishna. Are there any quick questions or comments from anyone? Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, one time a girl asked the question that if gopis knew that Krishna steals butter at their house, they knew, right? Why they still used to like it? Why stealing is something they used to like?
See, when we talk about this concept of relish, I give you an example of a movie. In a movie, if there is only hero and he keeps winning from the first minute of the movie till the Indian movie means 3 hours. Until 3 hours, he's winning and winning and winning. There's no one opposing him. After 2 hours, you switch off the TV. You don't get so much relish. The relish comes when the villain enters. You see? So, to get real relish out of everything, there must be an opposing force. So, in the gopis' relationship with Krishna, you will always see there's always some fighting going on. Because the gopis secretly like that relish. That we must oppose Krishna and he must come and steal the butter. That opposing force, that friction, is what that enhances the love. And the other reason that Acharya gives us is that Krishna is the thief, ultimate thief. He stole their dress, he stole butter, he stole so many things from so many people. And devotees expect that Krishna will stealthily come into their lives and steal their heart from them. Because there is no other way we can give our heart to Krishna. We are caught up with too many things. Our work, our karma, our miseries, our happiness. We don't give our heart to Krishna. Our only hope is that he will climb through the window of our hearts and like the butter, he will steal it. And these are the two reasons Acharyas tell us why the gopis relish Krishna actually stealing. They make it, but they want him to steal it rather than give it to them. I hope that helps. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, comment?
No,
Okay.
clarification. So, Mother Yashoda's life centered around Krishna and she didn't think Krishna is a God. Right? So our life is also centered around our kids.
Yes.
So, why should we be centered around Krishna? You were mentioning that.
Yes. So the point, see, Prabhupada writes this in Bhagavad Gita 13th chapter. This is verses 8 to 12. These are the 20 components of knowledge. Over there, Prabhupada tells that wife, children, parents, they are natural objects of perfection. The key word here is natural. Anything that is naturally formed in us is actually Krishna. So householders should never see their kids and their wives or their husbands as separate from Krishna's service. He is a custodian who actually serves. The children are Krishna Das, Sri Krishna Das. The wife is Krishna Das, Sri Krishna Das. The husband is Krishna Das. So everyone, they are servants of God. So when the parents look at the children, they may chastise them, you have to study well. But that is because they have taken the role of a servant. They are serving their children. Even a spiritual master. Spiritual master doesn't govern the disciple. Spiritual master serves the disciple. Prabhupada has said it so many times, I am your servant. You are my master. But I have to play the role of the master so that I can serve you effectively. So the parents are the servants of the children, children are servants of the parents, husband is the servant of the wife, wife is the servant of the husband. So the entire home, there is no concept of exploitation. In the home, there is only a concept of service. I serve you, you serve me. That is how bliss grows in a home. As long as there is exploitation in homes, that I am superior to you, then Krishna's service is lost. Forget about Krishna's service. Even peace is lost in the house. But Krishna is in the center when we try to serve one another. I hope that helps, Prabhu. Thank you. So Hare Krishna, thank you very much for patiently hearing Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar ki Jai Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Should we do Damodar Ashtakam, Prabhu?